Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of the 2022 Alwin British Touring Car Championship, coming to you live from Silverstone National in Towchester, United Kingdom. This is, of course, one of the shortest layouts from the Silverstone circuit, so expect very, very short lap times. Roughly 57 seconds seems to be the lowest I think we've seen is a 57.3. So really, really quick lap times. Lap times are extremely close between all the drivers, so going to be very tough for the drivers to make passes. I'm just going to get some audio in the background here. But also, I am your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, so joined once again by Sean Woodgate. So good evening, Sean.
Good evening, Dennis, and thank you for the opportunity. And certainly, as you said, a short circuit, and the times between the drivers are pretty close. I always think that if the first race is exciting when you swap it around, then the second race is even going to be more exciting with the lap times that close.
Exactly.
So, let's see.
Let's have a quick look at our schedule. So we are round 2 Silverstone tonight. Next week we will be Knockhill, then we'll be at Thruxton, then we'll head off to Oulton Park, and then Assen, which will replace Snetterton. Then we have Croft, and our final round will be in Brands Hatch. And just a reminder for those that aren't aware, the point system we have at the moment is based off the British Touring Car Series. So first place gets 20 points, second place 17, third place 15, fourth place 13, fifth 11, sixth place 10, and then it goes down incrementally by 1 point until 15th gets 1 point. So quite a simple points championship, but very effective. And just to remind everyone that we have 2 cars that are competing. The simulator has actually released 2 new cars, but we won't be using that for this championship, so we're going to stick with the Toyota and the Infiniti. They've been updated since the last race we had, so actually been 2 updates to them. The Toyota has been given a slight weight penalty, I believe of 5 kilograms, but I think it still has the advantage at the moment, so we'll see how the Infinitis fare throughout the race. But race 2 should be quite interesting, as it was last week with an Infiniti winning race 2. But roughly 370 horsepower for the Toyota, 350 horsepower for the Infiniti, 400 newton meters of torque apiece. The weight, dry weight, is now 1275 for the Toyota and 1280 for the Infiniti. The Toyota is a front wheel drive, the Infiniti is a rear wheel drive. They both have 6-speed sequential gearboxes, and these are the 2021 specs, so we're not using the extra electric power. Alright, I believe qualifying is now going live, so we can cross over there in a moment. So perhaps let's go straight over to qualifying as we see our live pictures at the moment. Drivers are all sitting in the pits at the moment, about to head out. Just to remind you that yes, it is qualifying. I am your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined by Sean Woodgate, as we see the drivers jostling for position to get out of the pits.
Yeah, you can see some are more keen than others, or with a tight circuit like this, I think you need to put in a good lap before the traffic arrives.
Yes.
So it's certainly worthwhile getting out in the lead, and because of the tight circuit, there's, I don't think, that much of an opportunity for slipstreaming. So you've got to go out there and do it all yourself while the circuit is not yet busy. I think is probably a better way of saying it.
While we're watching the drivers head out on the outlaps, let's just have a quick look at our top 15 in the championship. So I'll just run through this as quick as possible. Basil van Rijn, from Chris Collison, from Jason Underwood, Richard Cilliers, Jean du Toit, Monet du Toit, Dani Stande, Andre Hildebrandt, Jandre Duppenal, Gilly Silver, Brandon Robert, Hilton Nicholson, Julian Bryce, Rian van der Westhuizen, and Bjorn Buchner. That is our top 15 at the moment.
Just an interesting thing that I've noticed on pit exit, it looks as though some guys take the long road, and then some guys get onto the track actually very quickly out of the pits. Are they both acceptable, or are some guys just taking the shortcut?
I think they are both acceptable. I'm not too sure exactly which is actually used in real life, but the sim doesn't penalize you for using either of them, or one over the other, so it seems fine. I would have assumed the one to the right, the tighter one, would maybe be better because you don't come out quite as acute to the track. So, but both of them seem alright, so I guess that's driver's preference. We have a good problem tonight, something interesting that I've noticed. As you see one of the cars jumping all over the show. our sponsor on the bottom left, not sponsor, but the info on the track is actually blocked by the number of drivers you have. It's actually low enough with so many drivers that it's actually behind that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that you actually have more cars on track than what you have on your lap scoring monitor.
Looks like Andre's connection is a little bit iffy at the moment. Definitely something funny happening there.
I thought he was going to disappear into the forest for a
Yes.
second.
I guess it's another thing with so many drivers on track, it puts a bit more strain on the guy's species. So Basil van Rijn currently on provisional pole on the 58.0, so expect that to be obliterated. I'm pretty sure we'll have low 57s. And the times I'm sure will be tumbling pretty quickly.
As I said, it's nice to get that one lap in early. That, as you also see, less than a second separates the top 5, top 6 at the moment, and that increasing as they cross the finish line to complete. There's a yellow flag which is going to throw out everybody's fast lap that they're on at the moment. But at the moment, the top 8 cars are running in the same second. 0.94.
Yeah, in practice during the week, we had the top 18 within a second.
It's going to make for very, very interesting races. Racing, of course, is totally different to qualifying. Nonetheless, you still want to get out there and get a good time in as quickly as you can.
Harvey Khoos has gone off. He's waiting for clear track to rejoin, which is going to be difficult on this track. The cars going to be coming one after the other.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the line of sight is like. Sort of put your nose in, and if the guys can see you actually early enough, then they'll probably give you a bit of room. As Harvey's at the wrong angle, that's the problem.
Yeah.
He's upstream, and he's got to actually spin the back end around and get it facing downstream before. But luckily, they come through the S, which is, I think, the bit of the track that he's stuck in is Brooklands, Luffield, and Woodcote, somewhere around about there, that he's looking the wrong way up the track. In talking to Dennis earlier, I said, well, just to make sure I've got the right circuit, the Silverstone National Circuit, it's basically a triangle with a little lump on the bottom, which is Brooklands, Luffield, and then it goes into Woodcote. But I think we were talking, and the key here would be momentum, is that one can actually keep the momentum going, because Woodcote itself is just a sweep. Not sure that how much they get off the throttle, if at all. 90-degree right for Cops Corner, then Maggots is sort of non-existent, but the corner behind just after that is quite a rough one. That's about 130 degrees, I should imagine. Beckett's, so, and then they have the Wellington straight, and then the corners that I described earlier. Brooklands is left 90 degrees, thereabouts, a little bit more actually. Luffield is 180-degree hairpin, and then Woodcote is into the sweep again. But I think Luffield will slow you down so much that you'll still be busy with the gear changes, getting to top speed by the time you go through Woodcote.
Yes. Just a quick YouTube check as well. So we have Stan Bezadner saying good evening everyone. He can't join tonight, so he's a viewer tonight. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. We have Caroline Yost saying good evening all. Hope you have a good race. Gary Johnson saying hello Dennis. So hello Gary. Good to have you back again. We have Rudy van der Westerhuizen saying good luck all. I believe Rudy's in the race, unless he isn't in, but I thought he was. Yes, Rudy is in the race, currently in 23rd place. So currently 25 drivers on track. Sorry to cut you off there. I'm not sure where the other two have gone that were on earlier.
I'm just trying to see what's happened. Tippenoa's done into a 57.9 thereabouts, and to see who's all again running in the same second, it's down to the top 11 cars within, well, if you discount the 5 1,000th per second, then number 243 Stander is in 12th position, and that rounds off the second thereabouts. With Bjorn Buchner in 13th, also as good as within the same second. So Switzer's car number 11 in 16th is also not far off the pace, but way down in 16th place.
Allen has just set pole position, provisional pole on 57.851. 3700s faster than Dippenaar at the moment.
Exciting racing it's going to be.
See what my guys in the pits jostling for position, heading out to improve. So Timo Smith currently 0.88 off in sector 1. I think the Infinities lose out the most in sector 3. That's from what I'm seeing and from my driving, that's where they seem to lose out. This particular corner here, as we see Andre Besson now, it just doesn't get the power down as the car is rotating, and it just loses a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah, and that's that one sharp corner that I said that you have a bit of a sweep. I don't think they worry much about it before they get into it, but Beckett's itself is look like it's actually a multi-portion corner, if you understand what I mean. It has about 3 direction in Beckett's, and all of it right, and more right.
That's right.
I left myself right open to that.
Could go on with that for a while.
Yeah.
I see Sean Johnson's name is not in here, so one of the drivers that hasn't yet rejoined. So we have Gary in the chat, but we don't have Sean on track. Oh, Harvey losing it there.
Just over 6 minutes to go.
Quite a few drivers have joined tonight that weren't with us last week. Some of the drivers that didn't have the Donington Circuit DLC that have joined tonight, and some drivers that have joined that just saw the stream and decided to be a part of it. And then some of the drivers from last week weren't able to make it this week, so yeah, still managing 24 drivers at the moment, which is a nice number.
Certainly is a great field. Alan number 222 in just going through as well, using the track and then some of the rumble strip.
It looks like one of the drivers that's not in at the moment is Chris Collison. Now, Chris Collison is, of course, Alan's teammate and Jason Underwood's teammate. He has put lots of practice in. I'm not sure why he's not here tonight. I'm not sure if he's had any kinds of issues. I don't see anything posted at the moment.
We have 24 cars on track, which is still excellent. It'll be good racing, and even if you're not racing for first position, I've often found in actual circuit racing that in big fields like that, the middle portion of the race is actually where all the fun is to be had quite often.
Yes.
Something in the background.
Swigger's number 11 has just gone into 11th place. I'm quite surprised that Chris Collison isn't in at the moment. He certainly did lots of laps and had the pace, unless he's had some kind of technical issue. Oh, we see two of the PZN guys coming together there. I gather there's no team orders there.
They're beginning at everything and then some. And that'll mean that the one that spun around that set of tyres will be done.
Yes.
Yes, they can actually, if they get in change, not sure how long they take for a tyre change. They still have 4 minutes or so, under 4 minutes now. It's number 99, I think. It's Van Rijn, Basil.
That's Basil, that's right.
Yeah. So they get competing for the same portion of circuit at the same time. Harvey seems to be battling to get to grips with the Infinity, and he's almost off again in what I think I shall abbreviate to call it the complex, which is Brooklands, Luffield. Actually, just the two corners, and Woodcote is just a sweep, so I'll leave that out of it. But those two corners are very tight. It's about 130 and then 180 hairpin, and they follow immediately after each other. So very, very close.
Another driver that I see that hasn't rejoined that was in earlier is Hilke Verenigde, who is of course our title sponsor. He's the owner of Alwin, and he was driving earlier but is not on at the moment, so I'm not sure what happened. I know when we changed over he got disconnected, but perhaps he drives in VR. Maybe his VR headset has died because it's battery powered, so maybe that's an issue.
And the yellow flags come out in sector 3. They've been out. So cleared again, so they were just there momentarily as my brain and my tongue lose track of each other. Dippenaar behind by 0.05 of a second from pole, and Allen in pole with a 57.8. So certainly very, very close. And Bjorn and Van der Westhuizen, well, if you discard the 8,000ths or now 5,000ths of a second, then still here in 15th position is still within the same second as pole position. 15 cars within the same second.
That's quite amazing. Especially at this pace.
Yeah.
Our lap times were quicker in practice, but then I think the drivers went all on at the same time, so maybe they had a bit more space a bit more chance and maybe more time as well to get the laps in.
Yeah. Should be about a minute to go now.
Yes, a minute and 4 seconds.
There we go. And the chances are, looks like a bright sunshine day, which is nice for Silverstone. So the weather's not going to play a factor. I don't see a cloud in the sky. And the track warming up, sure how hot the tyres get. As I said, they are not. There are two very sharp corners on this track, and the rest are just flowing sweeps, which I don't think they'll probably just feather the throttle maybe. But other than that, there's not much to be done. The complex that we have going through now, the left-right, as I said before, is the left is Brooklands and the right is Luffield, and those two corners are quite tight. And other than that, the last corner, as they once again come into the straight, which is Beckett's, that's quite a difficult one. But the rest is just keep the car going in the right direction and hope for the best. Hope that the setup that you have is a good one.
Lots happened on the previous lap. We have Flynn Faraday, one of our new drivers who saw us on the Off Factor Discord. He's gone up to 3rd place. Andrew Holland has gone up to 4th place. So Basil van Rijn is now down to 5th at the moment, although he is on for a flyer. Here he comes. The checkered flag is out. Could this be pole? It seems like it wasn't. I'm not sure what happened to that lap. It was showing 2 purples, but it didn't show as the fastest lap. So Flynn has finished. So it looks like Alan will get his first pole position. So he's just joined and he's got pole position already under the belt.
And number 222 for those of you that don't know him.
Alright, so that's qualifying over. Before it does anything funny, I'm going to jump over to a quick ad break and then we'll jump back live and we can do a rundown of the qualifying results. So be back shortly. Alright, welcome back everyone. We are now live as we are waiting now for race 1 of the 2022 Alwin British Touring Car Championship, coming to you live from Silverstone National in Towcester, United Kingdom. I'm accommodator Dennis Mitchell, joined by Sean Woodgate. Let's quickly run through our qualifying results, if I can get that rolling for us quickly. Drivers have about a minute and a half before they get going, but it is a large grid, so I'm going to do this because it's a short lap. So Allen taking pole position in his first race with us, Yandre Dupinot in second, Flynn Faraday in third, and Andrew Hollum in fourth. In fifth place, Basil van Rijn. In sixth place, Jean-Ray Dutoy. In seventh, Andre Besson. In eighth, Jason Underwood. Some of the drivers still waiting to grid. In ninth place, Timo Smit. In 10th place, Andre Hildebrandt. In 11th place, Richard Cilliers. In 12th place, Brandon Roberts. In 13th place, Waldo Swiggers. In 14th place, Bjorn Buchner. In 15th place, Rian van der Westhuizen. And in 16th place, Julian Bryce. In 17th place, Dani Stander. In 18th place, Monet Dutoy. In 19th place, Hilton Nickerson. And in 20th place, Peter Murray. 21st, Rudy van der Westhuizen. 22nd, Willem Steen. 23rd, Marius van Wyk. And 24th, Harvey Goos.
We're down by about half a second from Van Wyk in front of him, but he's been battling with that Infinity. Let's see if he can actually come to grips with the car in the race proper.
Yes, the drivers are now on their formation lap. They will now do a bit of weaving and do whatever else is needed to warm up their tyres before they grid up and prepare for the start. Just to remind those that didn't watch qualifying, this is round 2 of our 8-round championship, coming to you from Silverstone. Will be followed by Knockhill for round 3, Thruxton for round 4, Oulton Park for round 5, Assen for round 6, Croft for round 7, and Brands Hatch for round 8.
Right, standing start for race 1 and a rolling start for race 2, and both races 20 minutes duration.
Wait before I put the tower up so that we can at least see the grid a bit easier as we get going. Of course, our championship is brought to you by Alwin Automotive Glass, so if you have any automotive glass requirements or automotive aluminium requirements for your vehicles, head over to www.alwin.co.za. Give Hilke a shot and he'll be able to assist you. Right, the driver's now gridding up. It looks like someone was off to the left there. I'm not sure who that was.
That's just as they approach the grid as well, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure if someone had just gone wide or moved over or something. It looked like it might have been Flynn because it was a green car and I believe he was in a green car. Alright, as we get ready to go. Someone is not in their grid slot because the timer isn't counting down yet. As we wait. Alright, there we go. 5 seconds to go. Alright, we're away. It's Harvey Goos that is indeed in the pits.
So you wait for the whole field to go through. Let's see if number 222 Allen can get ahead of the field.
Oh, it was close at the front there.
Yeah, I just made it. But if you look at them quickly, the first 3 are Toyotas before I think the next 2 are Infinities. So it looks as though the Infinities have caught up a bit compared to the first race. So I'll just have to confirm that as I get to see them again.
I think Andrew had qualified in 4th. He's in Infinity. He's actually dropped to 5th now. So he lost a place at the start there by the looks of things.
Yeah. So hopefully they can make those cars quicker. I think it's also a question of setup and that sort of thing. And as we said, this is a very flowing circuit. I don't think it's a top-end speed circuit. It's too short for that. But you've really got to get your handling good and the car just flow through the circuit so that you can get a good time around. And 20 minutes on a short track like this is going to be 20, you'll probably finish on the 21st lap or thereabouts, and it's going to keep them busy. I think they're going to be quite tired after this first race. Oh, a bit of an undercut there and a nudge.
Yeah, they've got to be careful of Tracklands if they go over there.
say undercut, that's actually the wrong word. He went up the inside of the car and then gave him a good nudge. And maybe the system is not going to like that so much. But certainly the Toyotas at this stage look as if they have the measure of the circuit and the competition in the top 3 positions, definitely.
Quite close at the front. It looks like Andrew is trying his best to catch up. It looks like he doesn't quite have the pace of them. Now the Infinity does take about 2 or 3 laps to warm up. It's usually 2 laps on a longer circuit. On these short laps it might take a little bit longer. And I'm not sure if he's using softs or mediums or hards. I believe he'll be on softs.
Interesting also to see that in the first lap or 2 they certainly split the pack up by 5 seconds. The first 9 or 10 cars are spread over 5 seconds, which, as we said before, it's one thing in qualifying that they're that close, but when it comes to race proper, we're actually racing the car ahead of you or blocking the car behind you, then you create the gaps that the guys certainly have a bit of space to move in. But at this stage, the top 10 cars separated by about 6 seconds.
And the top 10 is Allen, Duppenov, Van Rijn, Besson, Holland, De Toy, Underwood, Smith, Cilliers, Hildebrandt. It is our top 10 currently.
And Allen, number 222, qualified pole, running in the lead. And I think getting away from the rest a little bit at the moment. If you think it's 1.1 seconds, or it was the last time I watched the YouTube, which is about 20 seconds, give or take, behind the actual race, so things may change, but I think he's off into the distance. And well, he has a gaggle behind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, I think it is, that are X6 maybe, that are fighting for position, and there's a change, I think, for 6th and 5th. Is that De Toy and Underwood, or is it Holland and De Toy that swap positions?
I think it went back to what it was, because it's showing that Holland is still 5th, so perhaps it was 5th and 6th. It looked like it was maybe 5th and 6th. That should be De Toy.
Fighting.
Jean-Andre De Toy, not
and that's
more
what
there.
De Toy, yeah. It's Jean-Andre De Toy, number 737. As I said last week, they've numbered their cars after aircraft, and 777 is missing. Oh no, there he is, number 14. So the Boeing 737 in 6th, and the Boeing 777 in 14th. Number 33, Besson, in 4th position, in amongst that very tight pack that are competing, but they're allowing the race leader to get away. And it's certainly a second when the rest of the cars behind you are so close and fighting for position. That second is worth gold, that you actually don't have to, you can run your normal racing line without having to worry the guys that are chasing up behind you.
In the background we saw Julian Bryce getting a nice drift on there.
The red, white and black Toyotas, are they the PZN panel beaters team?
Yes, there are quite a few of them.
Yes, but I noticed there's a few of them in the top 5 as well, which makes, there's a winning jumping off the nose of that competitor as they come past the pit exit.
Someone coming in from the grass, it's Waldo Swiggers.
The grass is not the best place for grip, but certainly it keeps you honest, because you've got to it forces you to stay on the track limits. You look at some of the modern circuits that have massive expanses of painted cement. The guys, I wouldn't say they don't respect the circuit as much, but with a circuit like this where you have grass and beyond the grass you have gravel traps, you certainly have to stick to the black stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just that normal contact there between Bjorn and one of the Toyotas. If they can get away with it, they will always push the limits.
Yeah, I think Bjorn came off worst in that, and he's number 23. He was in 15th, and I'm not sure whether that actually lost him a position. But yes, there's the change now. That's the 777 of De Toy that actually got past him. Here's Basil, nice view and a nice idea to put the name on the back, then we know exactly it's Basil with 2 L's. So, unlike Philip, who was one hell of a guy. Basil's going very well and enjoying himself. I think they all actually are. As I said before, this is once you get through the S bit, the rest is all flowing, and I wouldn't say you can relax, but you can certainly concentrate on taking the racing line. And Basil making that car very wide, he drifts it out to the left, which means the car behind him absolutely has no chance of making a pass. There's Rian, number 69. He's under threat. Just having a quick look down. Rian, that must be Detoy 777 behind him. And that is for track position off the second set of wheels off the white line. So we'll see what the system says about that. But it seems to be quite lenient at the moment.
I think as long as they're on the curbs, it's happy. If they go beyond the curbs, then it's not happy.
Yeah. But if you look at when they're coming down that straight bit, how many cars are actually on the same piece of tarmac, then I didn't want to say much when Basil did take the 2 wheels off. But if you're going to put 2 wheels onto the dirt through the tight bits, like he's now gone the whole car, that's going to lose you momentum, specifically for the sweeping corner coming up. And I think Basil's going to have a bit of trouble pretty soon, not from the system, but from his competitors, because they're going to be right at him like a rash.
Those P7 guys are already racing amongst each other there.
And passing on the outside of all things. There goes the 737 car of Detoy. Has he actually made that stick? Amazing piece of driving. But I think also lenient from Holland to allow him through rather than to be nudged on the front wheels. That, of course, would affect steering, which is not the ideal thing to have.
And so Holland now being threatened by his teammate who's right behind him as well and on his tail.
So a very, very tight pack. Off the race lead as just the last time round, Dippenard over 2 seconds behind number 222 Allen. As I said before, once you get into the lead like that and you can run your own race, you don't have to worry about anybody else. Give an idea, Dippenard to Van Rijn was about half a second or thereabouts, even less now, 0.3, 0.2. They are fighting battles within each other, and that slows them down and allows Allen to get away. So with just under 11 minutes to go, I don't think anybody's going to, never say never. One of the cars going off there.
That's Julian Bryce just getting it all wrong there into the barrier.
Doesn't make for good driving, and he spins it around and he's facing the wrong way, which makes it even worse. We saw Harvey just clear my throat there. We saw Harvey do that in practice, and he actually took a long time to rejoin. And in the race, it's probably going to be difficult as well if you're facing in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Right, on board is Jean-Louis Detoy now, right behind Basil van Rijn. Looks like he's got the drive, but just had to ease off there.
Basil has this way of going from the right-hand portion and drifts it wide to the left, which is a natural racing line. That's where the momentum of the car is going to take you. And that car right there will probably have to give up that position.
And he's lost the place now to his teammate.
Yeah. And as we said last week, the first person, regardless of where you finish on track, that you want to beat will be your teammate. And they are fighting for it amongst themselves in the top 8 or 6 thereabouts, but certainly doesn't look like any team orders there.
Of course, their newest teammate is currently at the front with a 2-second gap over Dippenard.
Yeah, 2.5 almost. That Allen leads from Dippenard. That's 222 ahead of car number 9. And Harvey close battling along with his car. I think he's been lapped.
Looks like he's moving over to the left to allow the guys past.
Yeah, I think it's also a very honest thing to do when you realize that you don't have the pace, that you don't want to be a mobile chicane to the guys that are actually competing for position in the top 10 or so. Another car that goes, I think that's one of the PZN cars that actually went wide off there, gets back onto the circuit, but now involved with the teammates that are in purple, oh, there's a coming together, and was that with Harvey? Yes, it was.
Well, shame. He was trying to get out the way and ended up on the grass, and then the car just sort of slides once it's in the grass.
Now, there's not much you can do. Coming back is just a slide until you get back onto the... And he's lucky, actually, get back onto the tar, that the car was lined up in the direction that he wanted it to go. Because if it's pointing slightly skew, it's going to spin once you get back on the tar when it grips. Dippenaar in third position, car number 9. Dippenaar in second.
So Dippenaar is third, you're correct. He's lost second place to Detroit.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And as I said, I've got just to see where Detroit number 737 qualified in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th position, and he's now running in second. So a nice positions that he's made up there. Dippenaar qualified second and is running third now.
Oh, nice. Sorry about a nice swapping of places here between these guys here. The cutback helping. There's the one defending from the other, and then the next one comes past on the cutback because of them fighting each other. So that's a nice battle between them.
Yeah, and 7.5 minutes to go in this 20-minute race. It certainly is. I think first and second seem to be, I wouldn't say sorted yet, but it's about 2.5 seconds and then another 1.5 seconds. Allen to Detroit and then Detroit to Dippenaar. And Holm is now, as I've just said that, Holm number 54 has fought his way up into third position.
Oh, is he contact in the background there? Two coming together.
And one way off and gets it back on ahead of the car in front of him.
We see lots of smoke. Or is that just a barrier or something that we are looking at?
I think they've got a camera that's looking into something. Yeah, they did the replay on the contact.
Yeah, Jason Underwood and looked like Dippenaar.
The one car that spins around, I think the one going straight is not going to have too bad, and the idea is to get off the throttle once you're onto the grass like that in a calm, easy manner. I think that the camera actually tried to follow the car into the barrier. Here we see the replay again, and I think he might even go into the barrier backwards, but we don't get to see that. And we saw in the races last week that if these cars go into the barrier backwards, they tend to lose the rear wing.
Yes.
That's not going to be very good for the race to come. I think the Toyotas more so than the Infinity, because the Toyotas are the hatch and the wing actually extends beyond the back of the car, whereas with the Infinity, if my eyes are correct, the wing is actually mounted on the boot lid. So they might be luckier with the Infinity if they were to strike the barrier backwards.
I guess depending on the kind of impact, yeah, that could have an impact.
Yeah. So the PZN car straight, lock up on the brakes there. That set of tyres, the left front is not going to like that at all. We did say last week the difference between the cars, the Toyota front wheel drive, so you are accelerating, turning and braking with the same set of tyres. Whereas with the Infinity, the grip is at the back, so that's your acceleration, and your deceleration and turning is on the front. So the tyre wear, if it were to be a factor, would probably be worse for the Toyotas if they were to have a longer race. But it's, who knows, this compounds that these guys are running with, and looking at the weather, it's a bright sunshine day, so the track temperature is probably quite warm. So if they've gone for too soft a compound, that might play a role a little bit later, with less than 5 minutes to go in this race.
You have Holm coming back. I believe that's at Dippenaar. Oh, that looked like Timo Smith had spun there, that they had to dodge him. So Holm was in third, and he was now down to, I believe, 7th, and now he's up to 6th. Or sorry, now up to 5th, because they've just passed Timo Smith. And Jason Underwood currently in the pits having, I guess, his repair done.
Yeah, that was that barrier impact that we saw. But Allen now, I'm not sure what's happened to his car, but he had a very substantial lead, but the toy is chasing and chasing hard, because that lead, it was a lot bigger. It's now only about a second. So the battle for first and second is not yet done. But Basson is a further 4 seconds behind, and I think as we speak, you'll see that Allen number 222 is being caught by number 737 Detroit.
They're now lapping Jason Underwood as he's come out of the pits.
And Jason's in 19th position, or he was. But so this is the lead, and they are really at each other's throats.
But this is what this championship's going to be like. It's going to be hard battles. There's going to be collisions because of it. So now Jason is lost out, but he will therefore be in a strong position for race 2.
Yeah. 737 takes the outside line, and Level 2 sort of takes middle of the road, which it's not. I'm sure that it's a good defensive maneuver, but certainly it worked that time around. So holding on to the lead, but by the skin of his teeth now. It's 0.1 of a second, and well, he can look right up the exhaust pipe of the car in front of him. And what that has done is close them up really tight, and it's 3 minutes to go. So they're going to do this lap and probably another 2, and if they go past the pit exit, as it were. And yeah, is that a fight for position? No,
it is position. That's Andre Hildebrand currently being passed for position. So he's slowly snuck his way up there, being passed by Holland. That's right.
Yeah. So and those 4 cars that we see there, that's very close racing, and that's all for position. That's not Harvey. It's one of the cars that went off a bit, just trying to get the number. Q5, I think it was. That's Nickerson.
Yes.
It's a lap down. So if you have next to the time, does that mean you have a penalty still to come?
I guess that's a penalty, yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps a time penalty.
So Aid Allen, also with the name on the number plate there, they're coming up to a back marker. Back marker goes left, which is where the racing line would be. But I think we're going to see a change for the lead here. One of the PZM...
We do, and a collision for the lead. Oh.
Yeah, and that's a hard smack on the barrier. And there's, I think, teammates also coming together. Is that the team that are running? 2 of them run Toyotas and 1 of them runs an Infinity in the same team.
That's right, yes.
So that's terrible news for the 737 Croft de Toy as he goes into... Well, luckily it's just a marker that tells you the road is going to turn sharply to the other side. But now, of course, the other drivers, well, they know the circuit by like the back of their hand by now. But certainly, as we said, this racing is going to be tight up front and expected to change. But what that now has meant is that the Toy 737 off into the barrier there. So I'm not quite sure where he's going to come out, how far behind the race leader, but certainly the race leader, Allen, number 222, will have some breathing space with a minute or so to go.
Yeah, 40 odd seconds left to go. 1 second lead for second place, and then another 2 seconds back to Besson and Holland. Now about 10 seconds back from that. So it looks like the top 3 are now set, but it's the battle behind them that is raging still.
Yes, the midfield in the top, well, below the top 10 at the minor positions, but still good point scoring positions, certainly are very close. But much, what shall I say, calm has returned to the waters, and everybody racing fairly evenly spaced. And as I say, that 3 cars approach, of which 2 are teammates, and in the slow-mo replay, and they are certainly not going to be nice with each other, and with one of the PZM cars right behind them. So a lot to fight for, and still in the minor positions.
I believe we have a change in the lead. The timer has ended, and we have Jean-Louis de Toy back in the lead, with Allen in second and Besson in third from Holland.
Well, on the replay there, it swaps around. I see the swap around. And with the replay that we got here of this incident, we missed the actual flag, which is a pity, but to see where that overtake was done.
So the drivers all, I think, will be coming across the line. I don't think they've actually finished. They will now be coming across the line, if I'm correct, because we still see positions changing. So here we have the leader coming across the final corner, heading to the line. So Jean-Louis de Toy taking race 1 victory.
And that was on the last lap. That was really close, right all the way to the end.
Yes, and Aid Allen, I think, might have given him the position back off camera. Maybe because of the incident that happened earlier.
Yes. So just to keep your nose clean, rather keep the points for second position.
So good sportsmanship if that is the case. And then Andre Besson in third, Andrew Hollum in fourth, Richard Cilliers in fifth, Andre Hildebrandt in sixth. A nice drive from Andre. And Brandon Roberts also a solid drive in seventh for ECGT Racing.
Right till the end, Dippenaar and Buchner swapping positions round for 8th and 9th.
And Basil van Rijn only finishing 11th. He's our current championship leader, so not a very good round for Basil.
And what makes it almost worse, when they swap this grid around, it's going to be exactly where he is now. So
Yes.
it's difficult for him. And just have a quick look, where was he in qualifying? He didn't have a good qualifying.
I think it was 6th, if I'm correct.
Yes, 99, there he is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
Okay.
So he's dropped another 6 positions, and now with the rolling start, he's going to be mid-pack literally, and we'll have to fight quite a hard battle to get to some decent points. But then again, the quicker guys are going to be behind him and going to make his life difficult, guaranteed.
Alright, let's head off to an ad break while we reset the server and juggle the grid. So we'll be back probably in about 5 to 10 minutes, so just hang with us. We'll have the ad just rolling in the background, so we'll be back with you as soon as we can. Alright, welcome back everyone. We are back of course for race 2 from the 2022 Alwin British Touring Car Series from round 2. Coming to you live from Silverstone National. I'm just waiting, I have to quickly restart my game. It seemed to have an issue. So apologies for that. But we are now going live in a moment. So we should be good to go any moment shortly. I feel that will all tick in now. Have about a minute left before that goes officially live. So while that is all catching up with everything there, I believe the drivers are now heading out on their outlap, so perhaps we can just head to our live footage there, so long. So this kind of caught me off guard, so apologies for the delays and the interruptions there. I'll just repeat this and do this again quickly. Hopefully we can have a quick look at our starting order. Of course they do have a rolling start, and I believe they're heading off on their way, but we have Flynn Faraday. Some weird things happening in the background there. Flynn Faraday, and of course the server is supposed to be on a rolling start, and it looks like it has confused everyone. It has confused me as well. So race 2 has been a bit of a confusion, so apologies to everyone for that.
Your stream ended with the last one as well, Dennis, if you could restream.
Oh, right. Let me do that.
You that are listening to us, I depend on the stream from Dennis to be able to commentate more live than what we see on YouTube. So I will join that and watch. We should be back in this.
Yes, I think with the server, the drivers come in and out of the server, it's kind of confused things, and as a result I have not set it to a rolling start, so that is my fault, and apologies to everyone. It is a big mistake on my behalf. Which is why I try get the drivers to all join and stay in the server. As soon as they leave, I then have to reshuffle the grid every time they come back in, and when you've got 20 odd drivers, it's quite a handful. Right, as here we go. Issues aside, we are back.
Right, so we have a shuffled grid, but a standing start for the second race.
Yes.
Okay. And there's a big off, 2 or 3 cars involved already on the first 30 meters of track or so.
Yes, it looked like it was, I think, some of the PZN drivers getting together.
And also the purple and green team, I think they were involved in that as well.
I think one of the blue ECGT cars also got involved. As we see a replay of the start now. Oh, it was one of the PZNs clipping the back of the ECGT, and in the background
another PZN, yes, being clipped by somebody else at the back. And these two decide to take the race all the way down the barrier, and luckily both ended up facing in the right direction.
The nice thing about that was the car that pushed the car around actually pushed it straight again.
Yes. Right, if this is going to be anything like the first race was, it certainly is going to be a lot of fun. And there's another nudge into the grass, well held to that PZN driver, as somebody else spins around behind him. And I think they've got that sorted out as well. The first race certainly was very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen in this one compared to where, of course this has now been reversed, and where everybody ended up from qualifying first time around for race 1, and where they're going to be running. I tell you, some of these guys have really good reactions. There's some that now uses the pit lane exit as road and then gets the car pointing down the track again, but they are at each other's Number 9 we're looking at is Jan van Dippenaar. So that's in one of the PZN cars. And just looking at what's ahead of him, that's probably in 3rd. So could be very interesting in this race.
Jason Underwood fighting Donington here for the lead. Oh, a bit of contact there.
Yeah, that spins him around, pins him straight, and they both lose positions to at least 2 cars, and there's a barrier. So it's all rough and tumble on this, must be the 2nd lap by now.
And another one being punted around.
Yeah.
I think something that drivers, a lot of them don't quite, or aren't quite used to with, is that in slower cars you've got to give more space. You can't just take your line. If the car's there, you're going to have those kinds of collisions.
63 Stain, it was him and Holland, number 54. They were going at each other. There's another one of those green and purple cars, 3 cars in the pits. It's off all over the place as they go through the complex. But yeah, here it's changing Standard, I think. Is that Standard going in there?
That's Standard into the barrier, yeah.
Yeah. So that car's going to be quite damaged. We see 3 cars. I think those are the 3 that didn't start race 2. And we see them stuck in the pits. And it looks as though after total mayhem in the first while, we've settled into a bit of a rhythm now, this race.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, are they in 2nd and 3rd?
The amazing part is that through all that's happened, we have Faraday in 1st, then we have Dippenaar in 2nd, so back at the front. We have Toy back at the front, we have Holland back at the front. So that 3 has somehow managed to get through everything and up to the front already.
So Faraday actually had a demon start. Within a very short length of that remaining bit of the straight before they take the corner, he was ahead by about 4 or 5 car lengths. So he had it absolutely perfect when the lights went out, and he got away. He's now 2nd or thereabouts ahead of Dippenaar, but one can expect that to change with racecraft and ingenuity. But certainly Faraday did have an excellent start and made best use of that. You can see the start line is very close to the actual first corner, which is that right-hander.
Well, side by side here, it's Waldo Swiggers, and I believe that's George Hall.
Interesting.
Slipping up slipping up inside there. I believe that was Brandon taking advantage of them.
Yeah, I think what had happened is the orange card actually left room that they didn't get into contact, and then he used that room, but I think he's just been overtaken again. No, he hasn't. He's made it stick. There's 3 cars. Oh, it's PZN team again, and car number 2, which is Underwood. Now, Underwood is one of the, well, I think in the Porsche Cup, wasn't he one of the top 5 consistently?
Yes, and he won the Porsche Cup, so...
I wasn't going to say that in case I was wrong, but I think he then has 2 trophies next to his name.
That's right. What was the other one that he won? Yes, I believe so. I'm trying to think what the other championship was that he won.
So this is not very good for him in the championship.
I believe the other one was then the BMW Cup that he won. No, not having a good round tonight, and has now got a DNF as a result.
Yeah, just to give you an idea, this track length, if anybody knows Swartkorp's racetrack here at Pretoria very well, Swartkorp's is 2.4 kilometers, this track is 2.6. So that's why a lap is over very, very quickly indeed. A little bit of oversteer there coming out of the corner, but catching and holding onto it very nicely without losing too much momentum. Just wait till it comes inside so we can get the number. If we're lucky, the camera doesn't stay on it, which makes it more difficult. My biggest nightmare in commentating was when they released the Polo Cup many, many, many years ago. And the guys had received the cars late from the factory in Uitenhage. And here we had 20 plenty cars. I was up in the tower at sunset, and we had 20 plenty white cars arriving, and all you had to go by was a single number in the top right-hand corner of the windscreen. So it made commentary very, very difficult.
Yeah. And nowadays some of the cars, especially like the Le Mans spec cars, they have a nice light in the window, which is also nice for nighttime, but it also helps in the daytime. They've got the numbers on the car, so it's on the windows, it's on the car, it's sometimes on the roof.
Yes, the more numbering you have, and it's nice to see that they have a big block that they stick the number on. If you can see the number, well, if the camera were to stay on it long enough that you can read the number, then it certainly does help. Like there, Basson's car number 33, nice and visible, and it certainly helps for commentary. 63 going around there, I've always got to go and find them, is Stain. People like to hear their competitors' names mentioned in commentary. Even if Stain is only running in about 14th position, he's out there while we're talking all about it up here. And look at this pack here, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. That allows, I think, Stain to catch up to them. And that's in the green car is that Faraday. He's the one that had the demon start, and then it's Dippenaar and Holm. And he's managed to hold onto it very nicely, thank you. He's still about 1.5 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
Does it go? No, it doesn't. Somebody's always going to cry out of a 3-1 situation.
Yes.
And in the complex, as I said, if you want to know the names of the corners, those are Brooklands and Luffield. And there specifically, because there's a change of direction twice, you're not going to have that happen because somebody's going to have his nose chopped off at some stage.
You see, the pits have several cars in it at the moment.
Just trying to see where number.
While you're looking, we're on board with Andrew Holm in third place, challenging second place with first place in sight. This could be a good round for Andrew Holm.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think, 222, that was first and second-ish in the first race, is not on the lap scoring monitor. That's Allen. So that car...
Yes, he's got a DQ.
Yeah. I just noticed that now. I saw him on circuit and went looking for the number, and then I found him way at the bottom with a DQ behind his name. So that's not a very nice place to find yourself in.
Yeah, that's the danger of a reverse grid, all the incidents that could happen.
And as you said, people must bear in mind that if you have a faster car on your inside, then you've got to really think about, is it worth taking my racing line, or do I actually just stay off it a little bit and let the quicker car that I know is quicker than I am go past, as we have a change for, wait in a minute, we'll see it, as one of the PZN panel beaters cars clips the curb. That's number 33 is Basson, that's the year behind him. So they're fighting for position on track.
In the comments, Jason saying the server should have restarted, and I would agree usually, but the problem is if we do a restart, I have to reshuffle the grid again, and then everyone has to wait while I reshuffle it, and every time a car leaves and rejoins, I have to reshuffle again, so it's very time consuming. It's not just a case of restarting and changing a setting and away we go.
It's one of those things, I suppose, that one has to live with, and not what one would have liked, but certainly that's the way that it's turned out, and it looks as though that those that did start and realised that it is actually a standing start have made the best of it and got going. Maybe some of them thought that it's actually they're going around for a pace lap and then go into the rolling start.
Must have caught them out quite a lot, so
yes,
not nice.
But these things happen, and as you say, for the people that are actually watching this on YouTube, I think it's nice to actually see racing rather than see an advert spin over and over and over again. I think that might be the race lead.
That is our leaders. The top three are fighting nicely there.
Yeah, Faraday, Dippenaar and Holm are in first, second and third, and Faraday is giving good go there. He's certainly not giving that place up at all. Remember, they won't be a blue flag because he is actually in the lead. And
not anymore. Dippenaar now has the lead.
It's changed, yeah. I thought it would. But they actually have to pass him on track without flags.
He has a DNF, so something happened off camera.
That actually made him leave the circuit and the race by the looks of it.
I'm not sure if there was possibly contact. We didn't get a replay.
It's not. That green car is certainly not anywhere to be seen with these two cars that we're looking at now.
We see a penalty for Nicholson. Not sure what that's for,
So
maybe
was-
track limits?
Yeah, Nickerson on the reverse grid, I think he was about second or third last. He started second, third, or fourth, wherever it was. I know it was high up, but already he's down in 18th position and with a penalty to be served. This is first and second that we see going through now the last corner that, well, it joins at the pit exit, and then it's that left-hander. So this is also not done and dusted. It's Dippenaar and Oulton, 9 and 54. High road and the low road. Bit of a nudge there. It's actually detrimental to, that's Oulton, that's detrimental to his own momentum, because he's got to come off the gas, because if he's going to spin Dippenaar around there, then the chances are very good that's going to be an infringement. But they hold on to fight another day with just over 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, lots happening in this race. Unfortunately, some of it caused by the server not having the correct starting procedure, thanks to finger trouble on my part. But other also just by some of the drivers getting a bit too overzealous, I guess.
Yeah. This is Oulton attacking Dippenaar, I think it is.
That was a nice move.
Yeah. I just think Dippenaar allowed it to drift out a little bit too far to the left, which gave Oulton a bit more tarmac than he would have expected.
And I believe that's Nickerson, Hilton Nickerson in front of us.
So he's about to be lapped, if this is then with the race leader.
That's right, yeah.
My man playing games with me. One can change, sort of split his Nickerson's name up, then you wonder whether he has got his Nickerson. So, guys, don't take me too seriously, please. I've been around and in commentary, we try and say something funny without trying to be comedians.
Yeah, people mustn't take things too seriously.
No,
This in the grand scheme of things, it's all just for fun.
yeah,
Although some drivers do take it very seriously. I used to be one of those. When I raced, it was as if it was a real race, and I'm sure many of them do. But in the commentary side, yeah, we definitely try and make it as light-hearted as possible.
there's some of the cars using track limits and a bit, which seems to become sort of the racing line, as it were. I'm trying to think which of the circuits at Swartkops here, turn 8, they actually added, eventually the people were going off so often, they actually added a bit of concrete to the end of turn 8. They tried one of those sausage curbs, and the guys complained, especially the cars that are very, very low, they were causing a lot of damage, so they removed the sausage curb and made everybody. There's Timo, and
That was
he's
close. I think they both had a bit of paint exchange there.
Yeah, you can see on Timo's car with the wing mounted on the boot lid. And that's the Infinity. That you can see the difference in the two cars. With the Toyota has the wing sort of protruding behind the back of the car, being a hatch. Still competitive right to the edge with 4.5 minutes or thereabouts to go, just over 4.5 minutes. So Oulton now almost a second ahead of Dippenaar. But Timo is holding on to that position for dear life. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. And because having to defend, that means he doesn't get a chance to really attack the car ahead of him. And whether that's a lapping maneuver or a passing maneuver for position, I'm not quite sure, but he's so concentrated on having to defend behind him that you really have to think twice whether you're going to have a go at the car in front of you. There you can see the difference between two lines. The one that actually has the whiplash from out wide and then coming in narrow versus the one that actually follows the way that the road goes. And I think the whiplash effect using the long sweep out wide and then coming in across the bows of the car just behind him worked out better. I see some cloud has arrived, but nothing serious enough within the next 3.5 minutes to cause any rain, I don't think.
I would hope not. Doesn't look like anything too heavy.
Yeah, what the British would, even if it's the middle of the winter, they would say this is a nice summer day. I remember some summer in England last year. It was the 16th of June.
The one day of the year.
Yeah, I just mock at the British, but they actually have had good weather this summer. It's been a scorcher. I have a few friends across there, and it's been way above normal. And then I watch these mad people flying small aircraft around the world, and they actually flew from Reykjavik to Wick, which is John O'Groats in Scotland, the north, and then took on fuel and then flew to the southeast of London, all in the same day with nice weather. So they have had some very, very good days. Well, all of Europe, if you see also the fires that have been going, which is less pleasant, but the summer temperatures have been hot this year. And this race is certainly no exception. They've got great weather. Holland leads by just under 2 seconds from Dippenaar. That's car number 54 ahead of car number 9.
Yeah, that's a surprise that Harlem is doing so well. I mean, he did well in race 1, but the Infinities just didn't look like they had what it took at this track. But clearly he's got the pace.
And also, I think having the calm and the nerves, is that the toy that lost a position? Yes, indeed it was. Celia 101 took up a position. That's actually happened a while back, and I only pick it up on the YouTube vision now. But first and second seemed to be set with about 2 seconds between each other. And then a long way back, cars number 101 and 777, that's still here in Detroit, they're fighting out for third and fourth. So it's 2 sets of cars running with quite a long piece of tarmac between them. So I think pretty much first and second is sorted out. That's Holland number 54 from Dippenaar number 9. But still 101 still here in third and 777 Detroit in fourth. That's all to fight for, and not even too far back. Number 412 Robert is in fifth position, and that could also still be part of that threesome, or the last of the podium positions. For this race, that is, remember that they combine points for race 1 and 2 to determine first, second, and third for the day.
That's right.
But it's still nice to say I won race 2. But in the results overall for the day, and that's what goes to the championship log, it's your combined points. And we have seen, and we've only just started this championship, that luck has a certain element in this. Is there a pass for number 23? Just trying to see where down.
I think that's just the leader coming past.
Yeah, Buchner is down in 16th position in the Gunston colours. That car has really nice livery on it.
And that is the end of the race. So that is it.
I was going to say, is that funny man on the bridge, does he just wave the flag?
He wasn't waving at me, I don't think. But yes,
the last lap now.
That is it. I think he's waving the white flag, so I presume that this is now the...
so it's last lap.
Last lap, yes.
Yeah. So I saw him step up, and I didn't see if it's a checkers or not. So yes, this is the last lap. And at this stage, it looks as though Silvier is 3 seconds or so ahead of Detroit. It looks as though that's going to be podium position number 3 for this race, done and dusted. But still fighting it out is 777 Detroit and 412 Robert. That's for 4th and 5th. That certainly can go all the way down to the flag.
It looks like some of the drivers have crossed the line since the checkered flag came out. Andrew Holland looks like he hadn't, so he will cross the line now because he rounds the final corner.
Yeah, it's over quick with a short circuit.
You see some of the drivers doing their after race celebrations and having a bit of fun. I believe he actually might have crossed the line. Yes, he has. So we have everyone having crossed the line. Alright, while everyone is doing their after race celebrations, we're going to head to a quick ad break and then come back with hopefully our top 3 from the round, our top 3 overall from the round, for some interviews. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back, everyone. We are back here for the interviews. The end of round 2 is completed. Race 2 from round 2 is completed, so that's the end of the 2022 Alwin British Touring Car round 2 from Silverstone National. Of course, your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined by Sean Woodgate for the interviews. So we have with us, I believe, the top 3, if my math is correct. So let us quickly have a look at our top 3. We have, no, that is the wrong board I have there. Give me another second. I will quickly make sure I have the right one showing, which is finger trouble, lots of it tonight. So in theory, this should now be the correct one. Right. So for round 2, in first place we have Andrew Hollum, in second place Jean-Ray Dutoy, and in third place Jan-Ray Dippenaar. So Andrew, that was an interesting round for you. Lots of chaos. Your teammate not having a good round tonight. I'm not sure where Chris was tonight. He certainly was in the practice sessions, but he didn't seem to be in the race. But you had a good meeting, 4th place in race 1 and a victory in race 2.
Yeah, Chris had computer troubles yesterday. I think his computer's in bits, which is why he couldn't race today. But yeah, it was a frantic 2 races.
Yeah.
Very busy. And the start of the second one, I thought Dennis is going to restart the server shortly, so I just stayed put. I'm amazed there wasn't a bigger crash, actually, because everyone was accelerating, then everyone was braking, and people were going down the middle like I did and so on to avoid collisions.
Yes, that was a bit of carnage caused by the server not being set correctly by me, but at that point I couldn't restart it because the time it takes to restart it and redo the grid would have taken another 20 or so minutes. Or 15 minutes probably. So
yeah, fortunately it put me in my grid spot automatically just before the lights went. Aid should have done the same because he got disqualified because he reversed, I guess, for too long. You can go the wrong way for a short while, but not too long, otherwise it DQs you.
Yes.
We were wondering what had happened to him because he was actually in the lead and then disappeared from the lead without anybody. I think he was passed for first and then he was just gone. And it must have been the DQ that he'd received then.
Yeah, I guess because he had the penalty and hadn't served it yet, so it just skipped him out, yeah.
Well, I think he got the DQ for reversing on the grid, for going in the wrong way for too far, and you get an instant DQ.
Well, I don't think so, because I think he was driving, if I remember correctly. He was in the lead for a bit, and it was a couple of laps in, then he suddenly just disappeared.
Oh, I don't think he could have been in the lead, because he was right at the back, having finished second in race 1.
Oh, maybe, okay, maybe I'm getting that mixed up. Yeah, could have been, yes. All right.
I'm not sure.
All right, we'll come back to you in a moment then. Jean-Ray, a good round for you as well, a victory and a solid second overall for the meeting. Pretty good round so far for PZN, but I noticed a lot of PZN drivers driving into each other.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to get ahead, but yeah, for the first race was quite fun. Alan and I had a good battle when I could finally catch up to him. It's a shame he couldn't race 2. The second race is, it's a mess. Everyone, I think, pretty much hates it. But yeah, I got spun twice, but I managed to get back up to 7th place at least. So, but yeah, nonetheless, it was fun.
All right, and then to third place, Jan-Ray, you had a pretty decent result in the end. It looked like you were struggling a little bit, but race 2, you seemed to have pretty good pace. Got involved in a nice battle there as well. So how was the meeting for you overall?
It was quite nice overall. The first race, my tires went dead, and I went from 2nd back to 7th, I think. But the tires was gone, so the second race I just paced myself a bit and waited for Ed that was in front for his tires to go off. But that didn't happen, and Andrew came and catch me with the Infinity, and I just couldn't catch him again.
Yeah.
The front wheel drive in a race like this, as I mentioned in commentary, I don't think you guys actually listened to the commentary, but the fact that you're accelerating and turning and braking with the same set of tires, whereas the Infinity is doing the acceleration with the rear tires and the turning and braking predominantly with the fronts. Do you think that made a difference in this race for you?
Most definitely. That the tires in front is gone. We saw in practice that we can only do 2, maybe 3 hot laps for times. Then the tires is gone. But on Friday night, I did 4 or 5 laps with the Infinity, and also 2 to 3 laps, and the left front tire was gone. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it's my driving style, all of us driving style. I'm not sure. But the Infinity is getting faster at the end of the races.
Yes. And what you're saying, the left front makes a lot of sense because the circuit is clockwise. So
Yes.
I think there's 1 or 2 right-handers. Everything else, 1 or 2 left-handers. Everything else is right. As you're going around the triangle with a little squiggly bit at the end of the straight. But yeah, it'll wear the outside tires quite a lot.
Yes, and the third and last corner is quite hectic on the tires also.
Yeah, the third I think is about a 90 degree, but the last is about 130 degree. It's not quite a hairpin, but it's not just a 90 degree right, but it's quite sharp.
Yeah, it's quite sharp.
And also, we noticed the weather. We were talking about it, a bright sunshine day like today. We should imagine the track temperature probably played a role in tire wear, maybe contributed to it as well. So it's nice for us as commentators to actually see that the outside effects, well, you've got to be a good driver first of all, but the outside effects, you've got to race within the conditions that are presented to you. And if tire wear is one of those conditions, then it's interesting to hear from you guys that race that's also a thought that you put in the back of your mind as to how long you're going to, or how hard you're going to run the tires, and whether you're going to pace yourself well and be happy with the position that you're in.
Yeah, that also makes it different. I mean, qualifying times was about 57.8. I think there was 157.6. And now the last race, the race pace was 59.
Yeah.
So it was quite slower than qualifying.
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke about it during the race, that in qualifying you also you position yourself on the track so that you've got free air in front of you and you're not fighting with anybody. But in the race it's very different. So once those lights go off and you're racing, then you want to get ahead as far as possible. But certainly I enjoyed both the races. Sorry about the glitch that happened for the rolling start of the second one, but all's well that ends well, I'm sure. And great. We've seen now 2 sets of races. I'm I'm old to commentary, but at trackside proper. But sim racing, I must say, I'm really enjoying myself. And hopefully the teams that are out there and actually listen to the commentary enjoy it. But today has been a lot of fun.
Then let's head to Andrew. Andrew, back to you. Sorry to jump in there.
No problem.
It's been a good round for you. Team Harder Racing's had a bit of an up and down meeting. So unfortunately, Jason having all kinds of issues tonight, and one of them obviously caused by the start of race 2, but also having issues in race 1. Chris having a bit of a hard time with hardware issues. So you kind of flying the colours, and then you had Aid coming in, taking a nice second place in race 1, but obviously an issue in race 2. So still doing very good for Team Harder Racing, and then you got the PZN guys hard on your heels behind you. So that was a great round. So perhaps you can give us some final thoughts and perhaps a shout out from you.
Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't get more of the Harder Racing cars to the finish line. I think how many PZN panel beta entries are there?
I think 8.
Yeah. So if anyone dropped out of their team, they're not going to feel the effects. It was a good weekend, good race. Regarding the front left tyre, I think you damage it mostly braking at the end of the Wellington straight. I put the brake bias at 54% to the rear, and that helped a lot. If you go into cops too fast, that can wear it too. But trail braking with that much rear bias gets the back out. So that was how I made my tyres last, because the Infinity can eat the front left as well, just as fast as the Corolla. So shout outs, yeah. Well, better luck next time for us harder racing team. We'll get more to the line hopefully then. And yeah, thanks Dennis and Sean for the commentary.
Pleasure. And then, Jandre, any final thoughts from your side or shout-outs?
Thanks to the team. Thanks to you guys for commentating. I think this will be a fun league. I think there's just a couple issues to sort out regarding the second race, but overall I think it's a good league, and thanks to everyone involved.
Pleasure. Yeah, I think from round 3 onwards, what I will do to alleviate that is have a second server running. So what we've been doing is run one server, restart it, the guys stay in, I change it. But then with the start procedure being what it is, I was guys going in and out, I have to keep resetting it, and I got confused. So what I'll do is I'll have a second server that's pre-done, ready to go in a different start procedure. So you guys just join that and we won't have that problem again.
Could we, Dennis, have 2 standing starts? Because BTCC doesn't use rolling starts, and there are problems with the R-Factor rolling start. You know, if somebody goes off who you're meant to be following, you can get a penalty.
Yeah.
They're not on track. You know, there are issues.
Yeah, true. There are issues, so maybe we should consider that. So we could perhaps just decide that during the week and then just make a notice if we are going to change. All right, then off to Jandre. 3rd place overall. Good meeting again. Final thoughts from you and any shout-outs?
Thank you for the team and everyone that was practicing during the week with us, and all the people at home that sits up with us while we're practicing and doing all that needs to be done at home. Then Dennis, Sean, thank you for everything. Yeah, that's all from me.
All right, then. Thanks, everyone. Any questions then from Sean? Any final questions for the drivers?
No, I think all of the things that we discussed during the race have been answered by the drivers. And it's interesting that the short circuit is the one that came up with the tyre wear. I wouldn't say problem, but certainly a factor that they had to keep in mind. And stunning racing, both 2 laps were exciting to commentate on. And we hope that it will continue. I might be late next week, but I certainly will join.
All right, and I'm going to say goodbye to everyone and drag everyone out. So I will do our final goodbyes for the evening with Sean. Our drivers have now left. So just to remind everyone that this was round 2. Next round is Knockhill. So we'll be coming to you live next week from Knockhill. We'll probably have an updated Knockhill thanks to Dave or Laser Cutter. So that'll be his fantastic creation next week. And then after that, we'll have Thruxton, then Oulton Park, then Assen, then Croft, and then finally Brands Hatch on the 25th of September. So looking forward to some exciting races. Of course, this is the end of this round. We've had a few ups and downs at this round, and the start procedure definitely was not a good glitch to have. Unfortunately, that is something that has happened. So we'll see what we can do to make it up to the drivers and perhaps give the drivers another dropped round, because as the championship stands at the moment, the drivers dropped their 2 worst races, or effectively 1 round from the championship. So it is an 8-round championship, but therefore their top 7 rounds or top 14 races count towards the points. So perhaps what we can do is drop their 3rd one, and that might hopefully make up for the guys that were caused grievance by this issue tonight. So fingers crossed that will keep everyone happy, and then perhaps we'll consider changing the start procedure for race 2 as well. As Andrew alluded to there are sometimes glitches with it. If a driver goes off in front of you, then there can be penalties handed out to the drivers that are following.
It's a very valid point, because I think to swap the whole grid around is already a massive change to make. And then to add into that a rolling start, then maybe I think Andrew's suggestion would restore some sanity, that if it's a standing start, both race 1 and 2, it'll probably be less mayhem and also put less pressure on you, Dennis. And what a great job you do, I think, anyway. But I think it'll just make it a lot more calm, and everybody will be used to the situation. But an interesting topic that was raised.
Yes. All right, then let's say our goodbyes for tonight, and thank you to everyone, and thank you once again to Alwin Automotive Glass for making all of this possible. And I just see some of the chats already coming up asking about Knockhill. No, Knockhill is not on the Steam Workshop. That is something that Dave or Laser Cutter gives us directly. So we have been very lucky to and privileged to get that from Dave. So thank you very much to Dave. We will be very proud to be using that once again. We used it last, I believe it was at our last Formula 4, the British Formula 4 Championship we used was the first time we had used it. So looking forward to using that again. It should be fantastic with these cars. Also going to be a very challenging track with the layout of the track and the undulations. It's going to be, I'm sure, difficult for the drivers to pace themselves and not push too hard. But we will see you all next week at Knockhill. And thank you to Sean as well for joining me tonight once again. Always fantastic having you join me.
It's been a great pleasure. And as I said, I'll probably be late next week, but I'll be there.
All right, so we will catch you all next week. So thank you everyone for joining. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you watched. And also to support Alwin Automotive Glass if you have any automotive glass needs. And we will catch you all next week for Knockhill.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.